Hello everyone. I want to do another Mail Art Monday, and today I'm going to do some postcards. Uh, One of the things about 12 by 12 paper is it cuts up perfectly into 6 4 by 6 postcards. So I often have in the many paper pads that I have purchased over the time that I've been doing this, because paper is one of those things I just love. I have these pages that don't necessarily work for the things I do because of this giant thing in the middle. Now, I could cut up this edge. I really could. I can see myself using that. But that does leave this whole center section that's not used. I was going to show you another one. This one, there are things that that I could use on this page, but not as much as you might think. Then we have this. Okay, first off, I'm not going to Palm Springs, and it's no interest to me. Now, there are some little things in here I could cut out. I like that, but in general, this page is not something I'm probably going to use. And then we have this, and I love the color changes in this, but this sentiment is way too big for anything that I do. So, and there's always a couple of these in the books. So, and this particular kind of paper, okay, these, I'm pretty sure these came out of the Hot Buy paper pads from Michaels. So the less expensive paper pads, and they're really not paper. They're more on the order of a lightweight cardstock. So on their own, they don't stand up necessarily as cardstock, but when I start layering on them, they'll be plenty thick enough for doing postcards. So we have that, and I have, I don't know exactly why, but I have 500 pieces of strips of my painty paper. I probably cut them off of something to do pages or whatever, but they're in my scrap box and I want to use them too. So I am going to choose a piece of paper, and what I'm going to do to start, and then I'm going to have to stop the video and let this get dry because I'm going to use Mod Podge. I'm going to start by just Mod Podging these strips onto this paper. Now, when I do that, what's going to happen is that I am not going to cut it off. I'm just going to Mod Podge it down, just like so. And I'll come back and trim it up later after it dries. So I'm just going to work this paper down on this piece of cardstock, and then I'll come back later after it's dry and show you what I'm going to do next. Oh, I'm going to use my Mod Podge and glue mixture, which I call my collage mixture, and I will link right up there. Let me write it down, but I'm going to link right up there to how I make this. Okay, everyone, it is finished as far as I can get right now. I did go back and my pieces, some of my great big pieces like this, I went in with some smaller strips just to break it up a little bit more. Now I'm probably going to cut the postcards this direction so that there's a bunch of different colors on it. It's not perfectly smooth, and that's all right. It'll be okay. One of the things about using this collage, Mod Podge, and glue mixture is that it coats the front surface of the paper, and it seems to go through the mail pretty well. In doing my postcards when we're on a trip, just having this across the front usually sends it through okay. So I'm going to have to stop the video, let this get dry because I want it to dry completely before I start cutting it up and working on it. And I'll be back later when I get this dry. Okay, guys, so we have our cardstock covered with our painty paper pieces. It's our scraps of painty paper, basically. And I started to trim this out, decided I probably should show you that I'm trimming it out. I am not going to cut it apart just yet. I am just going to trim this out. Then I'm going to use some of my hand-carved rubber stamps on it before I cut it into pieces. Once I cut it into pieces, I am going to then probably do some doodling on them. As I told you, I'm planning on making postcards, so this will make 6 postcards. And I probably won't stamp it with postcards on the back just because I might just use it as a card to stick in somewhere. And if that's the case, I might as well have the whole space to write on. Now, I am going to use my hand-carved rubber stamps, and I thought I would show you something that I have found for me works kind of nice. I have this little tiny acrylic block, and my hand carved stamps can sometimes, especially these little ones, get hard to get on the ink pad without just covering up my whole inky self. And so I have put double-sided sticky tape on this block. Now there's not a lot on there and it is getting dirty. It will probably need to be replaced here or there soon. But it seems to work pretty well. It's not as good on the bigger ones, and yes, I could get out a bigger block, but this works for what I need. It's not about getting ink everywhere. It's also about getting it off the stamp pad. So I chose 3 stamps today that I carved, and I don't want to get too many on there, and I may not use all 3. I don't know. So we'll see how that goes. And I do have a squishy mat underneath, and I'll be using archival ink to stamp with. When I get ready to do the what do you call that, doodling, I'll probably be using my Posca pens because, you know, that's Posca pens, and probably my Uniball gel roller. It's a white pen. I use those pretty much all the time for doodling. I'm just going to get quiet here. I'm going to work, and I'll be back at the end to talk about anything, show you what I've done. Okay? wow, this video got very long. I didn't realize it was going to take me that long to doodle 6 cards. I'll have to remember that and only do doodles maybe after the fact. One of the things I wanted to say was I knew going in that my stamps were not going to stamp real smooth. Just so y'all know, the texture that was on the card, the collaging of the scraps of paper, there's different layers in there, and it wasn't real smooth. So I knew it was not going to be a perfect stamp, but that's okay with me because I kind of like that grungy look. So I just added things to it that made me happy. That's all that really makes a difference anyways with me. So I'm liking how they came out. Now, the other thing is at the end, I really like this one for some reason. It's a kind of weird upside down 2-directional landscape kind of thing. So it's kind of weird. But at the end, I inked around the edges. Now, that was something I learned with my iCads when I did the iCad project, is that the grungy, inky look around the edges really finishes a card this size off. It makes it look like it has a frame, like it's finished. This was the last one I did, and I don't know if I'm just tired or if nothing, it just didn't want a lot. So I added a few little dots and I'm happy with it. That's not always the case. Sometimes it takes a lot more to make me happy with them, but like I said, I don't know if I'm tired, but I just really think it was fine with just the dots. And this one it also looks sort of like a landscape with these things in there. So anyways, guys, this is Mixed Media Mail Art Monday. And these are postcards, but they could also be used like journal cards in a journal if you happen to make something like this. Let's read a quote from our 1001 Ways to Creativity. And I better get busy because it's time to get a move on. If you don't feel inspired, it may be because you have cut yourself off from all sources of inspiration. Actively seeking out new experiences is the only way to ensure a steady stream of inspiration. Okay, well, we'll see. That's not really a quote. It doesn't have anybody's name by it. Anyways, guys, go have fun. Make some art. Bye-bye.